Welcome to driver training. In today's video, we're going to help you to understand traffic lights. So the first thing we need to figure out is what is the sequence of traffic lights, because this is the bit that people get wrong. Well, if the traffic light is going on to green, the sequence is red, red and amber, and then green. If it's going the other way, then it becomes green, single amber, then red. You need to know this because if you come round the corner and see just an amber light, you know it's going to red. So red, red and amber is always followed by green. If it's going the other way, then a single amber on its own means the next light is going to be red. So you need to remember that. Single amber is going upwards. If it was going on to green, it'd be red and amber together. So now we know the sequence. Well, where do we stop? Well, we have to look for the stop line, which is a solid white line, and we need to stop before it, not after it. So as we're approaching the lights, even if they're on green, we want to look for where that stop line is, just in case the lights change and we need to stop quickly. So remember, the stop line is the solid white line across the road, and we need to stop just before that line. We don't want to end up going over it. The reason for that is some traffic lights have what's called advanced cycle boxes on them. So here you can see on the floor we've got the box which is for bicycles. And what that allows the cyclists to do is get in front of the vehicles, save being caught in a traffic jam and having to battle through cars when the lights change. So that's the reason we don't want to go into it. If you went into it because of slow moving traffic, then stop before the second solid line. But ideally, we'd want to stop before that first line. Now, with these advanced cycle boxes, sometimes they're highlighted by being put in red tarmac, like this example here. This is just to highlight that it's there, but most times you won't have that. It'll just be the road marking on the floor, like we can see here. But then we have the added obstruction of a yellow box junction. So although the light is on green, if we're not able to go through that yellow box junction, we need to stop at it. So let's show you an example. As we stop here, there's a lot of traffic going round. Now you notice that if that traffic stopped there, although the traffic light went green, we would have to stay at that white line because a yellow box junction means that you can't go into it unless you can fully get out of it. Otherwise, it can mean a £130 fine, even though the light was on green. Now, some green lights are being done so that they hold the traffic coming from the other direction, like in this example. We can see the light is on green, which normally means both sides of the traffic lights go at the same time. However, there are becoming examples where it's a normal green light, but it actually holds the traffic on the opposite side. This again is another example of that. So the way we deal with green lights, we just have to see what's going on and then make a decision as to whether it's safe for us to go or not, or if the traffic is being held, are we able to carry on going? Occasionally, when you're stopped at a traffic light, you might see a flashing amber light. This basically means you're actually at a pedestrian crossing. that's being controlled by traffic lights. Now, the important thing to know is a flashing amber means as long as it's safe and clear to, you can go before it goes on to green. In fact, on your driving test, if you sat there at a flashing amber light and didn't go, it would be classed as a fail. So to find out more about these crossings, check out our video on pedestrian crossings and the differences, and that will help you understand more. Now, another reason for fail is stopping at secondary lights. So a lot of traffic lights have what's called primary and secondary lights. So here, these are the primary ones, the main ones. But just across the junction, you can see the secondary lights. Now, those are there, so if there's a larger vehicle or a queue of traffic in front, perhaps you can't see the closest one on the left, but you can see the one in the distance. So it just helps all the other road users to be able to see when the lights change. Now, what they sometimes do is cause confusion for cars coming from the right, turning. So here's another example. We've got our primary traffic lights on the left there, and over in the red box on the other side of the junction, we've got the secondary set of lights. Why do we need to know and understand this? Well, very often a common mistake is people start to turn right at traffic lights. So here you can see the traffic lights in front are for us. We've got the solid white lines, as we've already discussed, in front of us. So now we're coming up to turn right. A common mistake is people will turn right at this point. They see the red light and they go, uh-oh, it's a red light, I now need to stop. Well, you don't. First of all, there isn't a solid white line on the road to stop for. Secondly, you've already passed your traffic lights and your white line. So these traffic lights aren't for you. These are the secondary traffic lights for the road that you're turning into. So even though you see them at that point, you need to remember, these aren't for me, I just need to keep going. The only time you'd stop was if there was a solid white line there for you to stop at. If there isn't, just keep going. That brings us on to filter traffic lights. Now, as we said, normally a general green means that both sides go at the same time, but sometimes you get filter lights. Now, there's two different types. The first, the traffic light stays on red and a filter light comes on separately, telling all the cars that they can go left if they want to. The second type, the traffic light actually changes and shows a particular directional arrow. So here you can see the red light isn't on, but you do have an arrow for straight ahead and left. However, it tells you you cannot turn right at this particular set of lights. Now, these are known as filter lights. Now, sometimes you get a mixture of both. So here we can see it's a general green light. So both sides of traffic go at the same time. So in this instance, all we can do is come into the middle and then sit there and wait for a gap. However, if it's a busy time of day and a busy road, underneath that general green light, you'll see a filter light comes on. That stops the traffic coming the other way and means that you can go. You just have to make sure that it is safe though before you do it. A word of warning, a lot of traffic lights these days have what's called traffic signal cameras. Basically, red light cameras, they monitor the traffic lights, and if you go through on red, it catches you, gets your number, then usually it's £100 fine and 3 points on your license. Now, the Gatso type cameras, the older yellow box ones, will flash, Newer cameras have infrared flashes on them so they can catch people of a night, but also you don't know that that camera has gone off. So it's much better to stop at the red light. Now, what if you come up to a roundabout and the traffic lights aren't working? Well, we treat it like a normal roundabout. So what we do is not stop at the solid white line. We would come up to the give way line at the end and then look to the right to see if it's clear to go. So if the traffic lights at a junction or roundabout aren't working, just treat it as a normal junction or traffic light. If you live in an area with trams, it's always good to just read up on what the traffic light signs mean. They'll be the same generally for you, but you need to be able to know what the tram signs mean. Along with that are temporary traffic lights, so most often used with roadworks. Again, we need to be aware that the sequence is the same, but on normal traffic lights, we have a solid white line to stop at. At temporary traffic lights, you have to stop at the stop sign. So the stop sign acts as the white line in effect. It also helps you in the fact that they tend to be placed in the best position for the motion sensor that is on top of the traffic light to sense you. So it knows that there's traffic there and then is ready to change. That's why we want to stop where the board is. Now, another thing with temporary traffic lights is sometimes on the actual sign telling you where to stop, you'll see another sign telling you that it's three-way traffic or four-way traffic. So that means that not only is it controlling the main road, it can be controlling the side road or the crossroads. So what that means is sometimes you and the car opposite will be sitting there not moving. It doesn't mean the lights are stuck. It can just be waiting for the other cars out of those side roads to go. So don't presume the lights are stuck on red and try jumping them. Just wait and see if those lights change. Another place you'll find red lights are at level crossings. Now here, as soon as you see those lights start to flash, it's better to stop. But if you've got the red lights on, you definitely need to stop. So remember, as you approach it, just keep looking, be prepared to stop. But if you come round the corner, those red lights are already flashing, don't try and get through that barrier. Just stop as you would at a normal light. A final thing to bear in mind is, although the light is on red for the other side of the traffic, yours may be on green, it doesn't stop emergency vehicles coming through them. So even though your light is on green, it's always good just to have a quick glance left and right, just to make sure there isn't anybody on a bike jumping the lights or an emergency vehicle coming through. However, in fairness, 99 times out of 100, the emergency vehicle will be sounding its sirens before it gets to the actual junction and traffic lights. So just be aware of that when you're going through. So we hope this video has helped you understand how to deal with traffic lights a little more thoroughly. Don't forget to leave us a comment, let us know what you think. Also, don't forget to check out the link in the description below for our briefing folder on traffic lights and pedestrian crossings. My name's Chris from Driver Training. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more useful driving hints and tips. Remember, keep well, drive safely, and we'll see you all again in our next video.